Good morning to you, and thank you for joining us here on Afro Worldview. If you could just sum for us up briefly where we are in this current matter, and I think a lot of people are asking why Ashwin Willemse then rejected to participate, in that Supersport probe.
Well, if I may start with the second one.
Sure.
The reason why Ashwin refused to participate in the process is that we raised two issues. One, which is a question of law, and another one, which is a question of process. In terms of the question of law, we said to Advocate Vincent Maleka, Ashwin is not an employee of Supersport. He's an independent contractor. So on what basis are you calling him to a hearing? Because he's an independent contractor, you can't subject him to a disciplinary hearing. He's not an employee. Neither can you subject him to an inquiry which takes the form of a disciplinary hearing. So the response we got was that his participation in that process was going to be voluntary. The second one was the issue of process, is to say, how was he going to conduct this investigation? And he informed us that he was going to have discussions with people that he regarded as necessary for him to conduct his investigations. So in other words, he would have a discussion with the person A, person B, person C, and person D. And would have these discussions with these people in silo. We would not know what person A would have told him, neither would we know what person B, C, and D would have told him. So Ashwin would not have the opportunity to hear the evidence that is being presented to Advocate Vincent Maleka, and therefore you would not be able to challenge that evidence. And we found that extremely problematic. The second issue was that he indicated that his investigation was not going to be an investigation in terms of which he was going to make a determination as to whether or not the conduct complained of was that of racism. We had a debate with him about that, and indicated to him that the terms of reference of necessity would require him to make a determination of whether or not there was going to be racism. So again, there it gives you a problem that if the chairperson of an inquiry does not properly understand his own terms of reference, how is he going to conduct an investigation in terms of which he has no proper grasp of what his terms of reference are going to be? Advocate Vincent Maleka also informed us that he was going to solicit the assistance of experts in race relations. He declined to tell us who that expert was going to be. And it has now emerged that the expert he was referring to is Professor Adam Habib. And of course, the less said about Professor Adam Habib, the better. And his views are generally problematic, and would have wanted an opportunity to cross-examine Professor Adam Habib and test whatever he regards as an analysis of race relations. And secondly, that Professor Habib cannot speak on behalf of Ashwin. It is only Ashwin who can speak about how he feels about the conduct. So the sum total of this compendium suggests that Ashwin was never going to receive a fair hearing. The result was a predetermined one, and we in fact told Advocate Vincent Maleka that we thought that he was being used to sanitize and chlorinate the mess that Supersport had created, and therefore we are not going to participate in this process because we would simply have delivered him to the slaughterhouse and get him on the other end in a coffin. We were not going to do that. Our duty was to properly guide Ashwin, and it was from where we stand, it remains the correct position. We suggested to him that his forum was an inappropriate forum to deal with the matter, and therefore he must refer the matter to the Human Rights Commission. So, and that suggestion was not taken seriously by anyone. We were now surprised that in the report, he now suggests that the report must be referred to the Human Rights Commission. But because he has already conducted the investigation, the horse has already bolted. So it is no longer appropriate to refer the matter to the Human Rights Commission. The appropriate forum would be to refer the matter to the Equality Court, so that everyone who has given evidence to Advocate Vincent Maleka can come and present that evidence in an open court under oath, and that evidence be tested in cross-examination, including himself, Advocate Vincent Maleka. So from where we stand now, the most appropriate course of action to take is to take the matter to the Equality Court. But what has also emerged, particularly yesterday, is that there are certain emails that have been sent to Supersport, in terms of which and some of those emails are captured in the report of Advocate Vincent Maleka. We are also going to approach the court in terms of the Access to Information, Promotion of Access to Information Act, to say we want to know, have copies of all the emails that were sent to Supersport and what the responses to those emails were. Because as we explained, the incident on the day is simply the day on which the camel's back was broken. This issue has a long history, and Ashwin has been complaining about this for a very long time, and Supersport has not responded. Now, we know from the report of Advocate Vincent Maleka that there were emails that were sent to Supersport, and which emails basically denigrated Ashwin. So we want to have access to all those emails, and we also want to know what the response to those emails were.
You speak of this being an issue that's been long ongoing. What we saw that night on Supersport was just the straw that broke the camel's back. Talk us through what the issue has been and why it's been so long ongoing and why it hasn't been dealt with in the past, according to your knowledge.
Well, this issue is about the vindication of Ashwin's rights. It is about giving true to the memory of Solomon Mahlangu, Chris Hani, Robert Sobukwe, Steve Biko, in terms of the confirmation of the black child. So our duty is to confirm that history and confirm the dignity of the black child. And if these complaints have been aired to Supersport and Supersport has not responded, Ashwin has taken it upon himself to vindicate the rights of black people who are in a similarly placed position. So it is important that this issue be ventilated and be ventilated properly. And Ashwin is prepared to take this battle all the way through. What we seek to achieve in the Equality Court is that in terms of Section 172 of the Constitution, read with Section 38, the Equality Court can make a declarator insofar as Ashwin's rights are concerned, and the court has broad powers to make an appropriate order to vindicate Ashwin's constitutional rights. So that is the crux of this issue, to say if Ashwin has complained about being treated in a patronizing manner, that the conduct of the gentleman in question is rooted in racism, and there's not been a response. If we don't get a satisfactory response from Supersport, we'll have to approach the court for the purposes of having Ashwin's rights constitutionally vindicated.
And what would be vindication? Would it be seeing these two gentlemen removed permanently from Supersport? What would be sufficient for Mr. Willemse?
Well, Supersport has indicated that they intend to reach out to Ashwin and to have a discussion with him. Ashwin is prepared to have that discussion. As and when we get an indication that they are willing to talk, we'll be available to have talk to them. Maybe in that process there can be a Mandela moment and there can be a Damascus moment where people come to the realization that the promise of the Constitution is the promise that creates a non-racist society, a society that confirms the dignity of the black child. If that happens, then there will be no need to approach the Equality Court. But if there is no Damascus moment and people don't wake up to smell the coffee, we'll approach the court for the purposes of having a relief that seeks to vindicate Ashwin's constitutional rights. And if in the process there are certain changes that need to be made insofar as how Supersport runs their business, the court will be well empowered to make an order to that effect.
All right. Thank you very much, sir, for your time this morning, unpacking these details and sharing those with us. Also, the future plans with regards to Mr. Ashwin Willemse. We appreciate your time this morning on Afro Worldview. That was the lawyer of Ashwin Willemse, just talking us through what the future holds for him